You are watching the News Hour with Arnab Goswami.
Even as the debate rages over the amending of the juvenile justice law, Justice J.S. Verma is asking, very pertinently, why can't the government pass an ordinance very quickly to deal effectively with cases of sexual assault, especially the recommendations of his committee, those parts of the recommendations of the committee over which there is no dispute? Why can't that be passed as an ordinance? Well, today the Prime Minister wrote to Justice Verma assuring him of prompt action on the recommendations made by his panel. Sources in the Ministry of Home Affairs say yes, the government can consider an ordinance, and even that when this happens, it will be the first change in criminal laws through an ordinance in almost 2 decades.
A week after he submitted his report on tackling sexual crimes, in an exclusive interview to Times Now, former Chief Justice of India J.S. Verma emphasizing the urgency to act on his recommendations.
If this report does not become a law quickly, don't you think this will be a lost opportunity for the people of this country?
Well, I would say that many things which we have said, there can't be two opinions. Where is the difficulty in promulgating an ordinance to implement them straight away?
On record, the government promising to act soon on Justice Verma's report.
हमारे पास आ गई है जस्टिस वर्मा कमेटी की रिपोर्ट. हम जल्द से जल्द उस पर कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं और जितना जल्द हो सकेगा, फास्ट हो सकेगा, वो हम कर देंगे.
But Justice Verma believes certain changes in laws can be done without delay.
Give me a few basic parts of your report which you think can be immediately taken as part of an ordinance.
Now, for example, the definition of rape.
So you want this to be pushed through in the form of an ordinance?
That which does not need any further debate. Let them decide. I don't mind.
In this session of Parliament?
See, ordinance can be issued even before the Parliament.
And Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has written to Justice Verma assuring him of prompt action.
If indeed the cabinet tomorrow does lean in the favor of amending the Indian Penal Code, the Criminal Procedure Code and the Indian Evidence Act concerning the rape laws, it would be after a gap of more than 2 decades that a criminal law in this country would be amended through the ordinance route.
Sources say the Home Ministry is considering an ordinance on some of Justice Verma's suggestions, including changes in provisions for stalking and eve-teasing.
Normally we do not like rule by ordinances, and things have to be discussed and adopted by the Parliament.
Meanwhile, debate is also raging about amending the Juvenile Justice Act.
The BJP has already given its recommendation that it should be 16 as far as the heinous crimes are concerned.
I would urge, rather than keeping him protected in society after release, keep him protected in Tihar jail.
Whether to lower the juvenile age or make exceptions in the rarest of rare cases, these are legal issues that cannot be ignored any longer. With Nikunj Garg in New Delhi, Viren Farao, Times Now.
I did say yesterday we'd look at that aspect of the story, which is the raging debate on whether a juvenile should be treated with great compassion, or in this particular case of Nirbhaya, whether the law is being too lenient on the juvenile who was also the worst perpetrator of the crime, the most monstrous member of this group which carried out this attack on the Delhi gang rape victim. This debate continues. And tonight on the panel, we have 7 points of view. Soli Sorabji joins the panel, very esteemed former Attorney General of India, former Chief Justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court, Justice Mukul Mudgal is also on the panel this evening. We have Purnima Advani on one point of view, who is the former chairperson of the NCW. We have Ranjana Kumari with the other point of view, director of the Center for Social Research. Malavika Rajkotia, who was with us yesterday, is back. Subhashini Ali is president of the All India Democratic Women's Association. And Kavita Srivastav is national secretary of the PUCL. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am very glad that we are looking at this debate once again. Purnima Advani, this cannot be a closed chapter, can it? That the law cannot be changed. This is the law cannot be changed.
The law
Yes.
Look, the law can be changed, and in fact the law should be changed from time to time to keep pace with social dynamics. Law can, in fact, the reverse is true, that law can never and should not be stagnant and static.
So in this case,
having said that, every case has to be decided. In this case, it will have to be decided by the law of the land as it is on the date when the incidents happen. Very unfortunate, but that's the law we are governed with. And this is just a reflection of complete lethargy and a lackadaisical attitude of the parliamentarians in not contemplating what should be the changes in law. It's only a knee-jerk reaction. When an event occurs, then the promises are there. Nirbhaya's case is extremely unfortunate, and in this case there is no reason why the juvenile should not have. We should have had a law to deal with the situation. And even today I would say that there must be an exception made. My personal view is in the age group of 16 to 18, where in serious offences, serious action should be taken, stringent action should be taken, so that there is a deterrent impact. We cannot just put our hands up and say that this is what has happened.
Precisely.
But unfortunate, again I underline, extremely unfortunate in Nirbhaya's case, we are being governed by the law of the land as it stands on the date of the incident.
No, I'm not sure.
And therefore we are bound with what the Juvenile Justice Act says as of today.
I'm not sure, because in this case, Kavita Srivastava, let's get the other way. Because in this case, you know, they went by a school certificate. Now, I have a Supreme Court case, which I can then bounce off Soli Sorabji later, but I'd like to get Kavita Srivastava first, which says, this is a Jyoti Prakash Rai versus State of Bihar 2008 case, which says accused claimed he was a juvenile. He produced a school certificate and a horoscope, same were found to be forged and fabricated. It was held in such a case, the court has no other option but to determine the age on the basis of medical reports, even though they are not conclusive. There is a similar, another case which says, Kavita Srivastava, 1 minute. The Honorable Supreme Court observed this Pappu versus Sonu 2009, since the doctor had failed to indicate the basis on which his observation with regard to the radiological age of the accused is 18 years, the same could not be relied upon to discredit the mother's evidence on the school record. In other words, in this case, you have to carry out a bone ossification test. You have, this school record is not good enough.
See, I mean, that could be your opinion that the school record is not good enough. My point
Supreme
is
Court opinion.
Whether the person is
Supreme
17 and a half or 18. See, yeah, I mean, Supreme Court's opinion. And see, my point is, give reform a chance. We cannot be devoid of a society that does not allow its young people, children to re-enter. Even at the outset, we are trying to condemn. Yes, he committed a heinous crime, but what the present law says, I think, is very good, that he can be put under 3 years of rigorous, observation. I think we can reform him. We can reform hardened criminals. Kiran Bedi did it. She did it in Tihar jail. So I really think, why this big hue and cry that we are making? No judge will put even an 18-year-old to a life imprisonment, because the person will be out at 30. So listen, I mean, I really think we need to work with reformatory homes. We need to invest. We need to really do something about our homes. We cannot brutalize our children anymore.
But according,
the system is a co-perpetrator of that crime.
What about repeat offenders?
The system is a co-perpetrator. The system has to take responsibility. I think we should pitch for reform.
According to the Juvenile Justice Board, the Delhi police and the authorities at Tihar, Kavita Srivastava, 15% of juveniles accused of serious crimes go on to become repeat offenders. Out of these, several repeat serious sexual offences. No,
because we are not working. We are not treating them as human beings.
I am talking about those who've been through the reform process, Kavita Srivastava, not those who haven't.
No, there's no psychologist. There are no counsellors. Please, this boy, no assessment has been done. I mean, a child grows up without parents.
I get a third point of view.
What are we doing?
A third point of view, Ranjana Kumari.
Without parental guidance.
I'll get all points of view.
6-year-old child had to leave home and come and wash dishes in dhabas.
Kavita Srivastava, as I said yesterday, some sympathy for the victims as well will perhaps be appropriate. I'd like to get in Ranjana Kumari at this stage. One minute, Kavita. Let's get the other
Full
view.
sympathy
Let's get
for
all
the
points of view.
victim. We want justice.
Yeah, sure.
But we cannot
sure.
deny the rights of the accused. We want justice.
The number
in
of
Nirbhaya's case. But we cannot deny the rights.
according to the latest data,
They are also human beings.
the number
Treat
of
them as
the
human
number of juveniles held on charges of rape were more than the number of juveniles accused of murder. I want to get in Ranjana Kumari at this stage. Ranjana Kumari, give reform a chance. We've heard this before. I want to take the debate forward. Your response to Kavita Srivastava.
Arnab, first of all, it is a very serious debate and I want some ground rule. Ground rule is that let me complete, let everybody else say everything. There is no point in screaming, shouting or trying to be very emotional about the whole thing. Let's be very rational. First of all, this whole situation in which this particular crime is not crime of innocence. This is a crime which we have to look at the nature of crime. This person who has already crossed 17 and a half years, and in mathematical calculation, in any case, when you cross 0.5, then when you go to the other side, it is rounded off as 18. Anyway, this is all to be established. Nation needs to know, for the sake of justice, what is really the age of this person. Because school certificates can always be manipulated and can always be wrong. Coming from our own experience, I know that this is possible, that, So first of all, nation needs to know, and also, as you always say, that we want to be convinced about the age of this person, so that when justice is delivered, there is no doubt in nobody's mind about the age of this person. Number one.
You're not convinced on a school certificate?
No, we are not convinced.
You're not. Why aren't you convinced?
No. Second thing.
Why aren't you convinced?
Listen to me.
No, tell me, why aren't you convinced?
Let me come to the second point. I am not convinced because A, that it can be manipulated. Time and again we have seen high school certificates being manipulated.
Precisely.
It is very easy to get wrong information given to the school. It is very easy because there is no birth certificate. There is no entry or registration of the birth. If there is no registration of the birth, you can just talk out of memory when you go to the school and register the age of the child. It is absolutely irrational system that we follow.
Yeah.
So that is why we need to ascertain the age by the bone test. Second thing, Arnab, let me just complete one more thing. Second thing, while we believe in child rights, while we believe in reform process, and we are all shouting, screaming, saying psychology and sociology of the criminal, there is a psychology and sociology of each and every criminal if you go into the detail of psychology and sociology. But look at the nature of crime, look at the way 18-year-old with full knowledge, 17 and a half let's say, with full knowledge, knowing what the person is doing is not act of any innocence. The nature of crime needs to be considered. And let me tell you, votary of human rights and child rights globally have looked at these situations and have made exceptions. It is not that only we are the ones who can't change the law.
Now let's get everyone in, otherwise I won't be proportionate. Otherwise I won't be proportionate. One minute. Well, otherwise I won't be proportionate. I want to get everyone in. Let's get Soli Sorabji. I want to present a case study to you, sir. A 17-year-old boy and his friend 16 suffocate their grandmother. A 17-year-old boy suffocates his grandmother to death. This happens in May 2012 because the grandmother stops the 17-year-old boy from stealing money and jewelry worth 10 lakh rupees. The boys are sent to a remand home, Soli Sorabji, in 2012 in July. They are released in less than 2 months. So, what do you think about a case like that?
But the question is this, Arnab, I have a different take. I am not enamored of 15 and 16 and 14. The Indian Penal Code, so over 12, he can be treated as any other accused. Point is, a test should be, was that person capable of knowing the nature of the act and its consequences?
Yep.
And did it do it with full knowledge of that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't see this number game. 15, 16, I think it's inherently arbitrary. There should be that. Because if you look at this, suppose hypothetically Kasab was 17, what would happen? You say he'd be reformed. We let him off. I mean, the is so self-evidently absurd. I understand the plea for reformation, but at the same time there are certain crimes which are really require retributive punishment. And also a message is a crime only also against society. So I don't like this number game. Make the test the mental position, capacity of the person who committed the crime. If he was aware of it, knew the full consequences of it, then there is no question of then saying, oh, he's juvenile because he falls short by 6 months. I find that inherently irrational.
Justice Mudgal, you agree with Soli Sorabji?
And the example which you gave, Arnab,
yes,
the example which you gave would shock anyone's sense of justice.
Yes, Justice Mudgal.
No, I generally agree with Mr. Sorabji, but here I'll have to slightly differ. You see, as far as the age is concerned, it is defined in the Act. Yep. And your title of your debate is, should the seriousness of the crime determine the age of the juvenile? I don't agree with that. The answer has to be no. But if you see section 16 of the Act as it stands today, the impression today that he'll be released in 4 months is not correct. 3 years can be imposed, and it could be in a special home or any other place. It depends. If he is more than 16, there's a special proviso in section 16 which says that if the nature of the crime is so serious that the state government can create a special home for him or any other designated place. It could be even in Tihar, where he is not in association with adult criminals. So that is my take on the law. It stands. What the law should be,
one sec. Soli Sorabji
as a matter of debate,
had a minor rebut
and
to
the
you,
legislature will look into it.
Soli Sorabji, just wanted to counter you briefly. I'm coming back to you, Justice Mudgal. Yes, Soli Sorabji, what were you saying?
Please, look, he's been my senior. I respect whatever he says.
Mukul, I only wanted to ask you, not contradict you, how long will he be there? Even under the proviso to section 16?
3 years.
So I agree with you, the law needs to be changed. As the law stands, 3 years. And would that be sufficient?
As the law stands.
For a crime of this nature?
Arnab, I want to say one thing. No, I agree with you. The Act provides, maybe it could be graded between 16 and 17, it could become 3 to 5 years. And between 17 and 18, 5 could go up to 10 years. That is for the legislature to determine. And secondly, I think the first speaker spoke that Article 20 forbids whatever the reform, it cannot apply to this incident. That's what the law is. It may not be palatable. The emotions are fully understandable, but the law stand like this.
Yeah, but you know, I also with great respect among eminent jurists, I feel underqualified. But I've been reading section 16, Mr. Sorabji and Justice Mudgal. Section 16, the last part says, provided that the period of detention so ordered shall not exceed the maximum period of punishment to which the juvenile could have been sentenced for the offence committed. And that is why I'm asking whether when this is applied in another case in Mumbai, what happens is, I want to get in Subhashini Ali, real life cases. A 17-year-old boy, June 2011, we're talking about Mumbai. Yesterday, Malavika Rajkotia says, give me examples, don't give me examples from America. And today, Malavika Rajkotia, I'm giving only examples from India. Before I come to you, Subhashini Ali, this is what happened. A 17-year-old boy and his friend, also 17, killed their grandmother, 63, in Mumbai, steal jewelry worth 6 lakhs, killed the grandmother, sent to a remand home 2 days later, released after 6 months. Subhashini Ali. This is happening. This is happening every day. And there's no guarantee these children won't come out and do this again to somebody else's grandmother.
No.
If they can do it to their own, they can do it to somebody else's grandmother.
Yeah. Arnab, I'm listening to what you have to say and all the examples. Yes, we are all very conscious of these things. As far as the age is concerned, I don't think that the age needs to be reduced. But at the same time, I feel that whenever such cases occur, horrendous cases, there is rethinking about the law, there's rethinking about accepted principles. I remember when the Mathura case, rape case, occurred in a thana in Maharashtra, the whole question of the onus of proof being shifted to the perpetrator, I think was incorporated in the Rape Act for the first time. And there was a huge debate and a huge discussion, and many people felt that this was completely wrong, this was against the tenets of jurisprudence, but we fought for it and we got it. So I don't think that any law can be static. There has to be debate, there has to be discussion. Yes. Now, as far as this juvenile law is concerned, there are very big problems with it, especially in a country like ours. We are fighting a gang rape case in Lucknow in which the event occurred in 2005 and the main perpetrator till 2013 has been able to prolong the case, saying that he was a minor at the time of the rape and therefore he should be tried under the Juvenile Act. For 7 years this has gone on, and he has produced fake school certificates which after 7 years have been proved to be fake, and now he has been declared that he was over 18 when the act occurred. So I would like to say that this whole question of dependence on the school certificate is a bit misplaced in our country. School certificates are often forged, and also when people put their children into school, very often they falsify the age. They say that the child is younger, or he or she is younger than actually the child is. So I think that this complete dependence on, please let me finish. So therefore this dependence on school certificates I think is misplaced. I think that there should be a bone test, and also I think that the nature of the crime has to come into consideration at some point. This kind of a heinous, horrific crime, I think, cannot be just wished away. The nature of the crime has to be part of our approach to the criminal.
Malavika Rajkotia, you gave examples yesterday. You had a fairly strong observations today coming in from several of our panelists. Are you rethinking your position? I'd like to give you one more example. A 17-year-old driver rapes a minor in a Uttar Pradesh village for 3 consecutive days. In April 2009, is released on bail because he was a minor at the time of the crime. I want to give you one more example, because you said give me Indian examples. I want to take another example which talks about whether it's a discerning act, whether the person is aware. Because yesterday you put an argument of, many things that they are not aware. Now, there's a thief turned burglar arrested in March 2012 for 25 cases of burglaries. He is lodged in Tihar jail right now. By the police officer's account, at 17, he would boast of 10 years of experience, hardcore criminal experience in robbery. But the police can't act against him because he's a juvenile. Apprehended, every time let off because he's a juvenile. So by the time this fellow is 17 and a half, the system, instead of reforming that person, gives the person of the leeway of getting away. Where's the counter to that, Malavika?
Yeah. See, firstly, let us understand the position of juveniles and why all this legislation and international legislation was started in the first place. The point is that at a particular age, as young adolescents or young adults, they are particularly vulnerable to a number of their own body changes that are happening, their mind, their desire to please or gain the approval of whichever adult they are in the custody of. No, just a minute. I mean, wasn't a ground rule that I have to finish? Somebody has to
please
finish.
complete. Please. My request to Ranjana Kumari, please let her complete. Subhashi, let her complete. I'll come to you after that. After this, I'm opening up the debate.
Absolutely.
Yes, go ahead.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, now, given in that background, there was all of this kind of legislation, including international conventions that were there, keeping in mind the state of mind of juveniles and their particular fragility and vulnerability at a particular age. Now, in the context of this case, as Mr. Sorabji says, it's not really a number game or etc. He says. Now, it has been found that it needs to be a number game. It is about when you become an adult, when the bones have ossified, when a mind...
Is there no... These hardened criminals, they're completely unaware? You believe they don't know what they are doing?
I haven't finished.
Are they conscious of what they are doing?
In all those circumstances, one sec. In all those circumstances, now for example, if they are not allowed to vote till a particular age, till 21. They are not allowed to drink till later.
No, 18.
And there are many reasons why they are.
Okay.
Let's just finish this. Now, having said which, today we are in a situation where, because of increasing rate of crime by juveniles and them getting away with it with seeming impunity because of the laws as they exist, yes, revisit it. But rather than straight away, like Mr. Swami yesterday said, make an example of him and hang him. Just a minute. In those, it needs to be looked at.
I'm giving concrete examples.
Never forget
I'm giving concrete examples before I come. You're getting a lot of rebuts, by the way, Malavika.
Are not going to.
Malavika, you're getting a lot of rebuts. I need to let. There are 3 hands, 4 hands right now. 4 hands going up who want to contradict what you're saying. I want to give one more example to our viewers. 8-year-old Satyam kidnapped, sodomized by 2 15-year-olds in Patna in May 2009. When the child started crying, the boy strangled him to death, stuffed his body in a polythene bag, then made ransom calls. Arrested on May 30th, let out of the remand home, having served a period of sentence in a reformatory. Not even 2 or 3 years have passed. Today, I'm asking whether these boys going out, whether we are completely convinced they are reformed or they've got the punishment that they deserve. 3 hands go up there.
Exactly.
1 minute. 3 hands going up there.
Arnab,
Ranjana Kumari first. Ranjana Kumari first.
The position, Arnab, is again a failure of state and civil society. Where delinquency is on the increase.
Then acquit them.
Okay, Soli Sorabji for 1 minute. Soli Sorabji said, sir. Soli Sorabji is responding to you, Malavika. But Soli Sorabji first, ma'am. Ranjana, coming to you.
I missed my chance.
I know you will not miss your chance. Soli Sorabji said something else to you. You took that example. Soli Sorabji.
Give her the chance. Don't let her miss it. Malavika, you used a very good expression.
Yes, Mr.
The fragility of their intelligence. Correct? I agree with you. What is the assumption, what is the basis to think that will be at a particular age? Is it not possible that a young person of 15 would be fully capable of knowing the nature of the act, the consequences of his acts, and will do it with deliberate motive? So why do you assume that if he's 15, we will see, no, he won't be able to do it? So I myself find this fixation of a particular age rather irrational. It should really depend upon whether the so-called juvenile, I'm not on medical certificate and others, that's not the facts of the case, but the juvenile really fully well knew what he was doing. So if that is so, then why should he not face the same consequences as an adult? In a case like this, a hypothetical case, and the cases that Arnab is given, but you are saying society, then in that case you acquit them.
If you are going to leave that much of an element of discretion and a gap with regard to how juveniles are to be managed, and then to club them with adults, that's the cause of concern. The whole purpose is only so that they come back reformed. It has to work towards, we are talking of reform movements for adults.
I want to ask you today, Malavika, before 2 hands went up, I have to go to the others. I'm giving only example after example. Yesterday I was told you give American examples on Newsa. Today I have a lot of Indian examples. I find a very interesting example. A 14-year-old boy rapes and kills a 4-year-old girl. Let off on the condition that he will spend 10,000 rupees on his psychiatric treatment. This has been said by somebody.
Ridiculous.
1 minute. Who will take guarantee for this boy when he grows up? You spend 10,000 rupees on your psychiatric treatment.
Arnab, that's a ridiculous judgment.
The boy will feel.
And that's not the law.
No, but I am telling you, this is how it is being applied, and this is how this whole juvenile. Kavita, please listen. Either real cases, this happened in Thane, in Maharashtra.
No, there are 2 things. One is the law, the other is the way it is being applied.
What you say to the mother and father of that 4-year-old girl who have been killed, and who say that the 14-year-old boy will pay for 10,000 rupees. Tomorrow that boy comes out after 1 year, commits another case like this, then he'll say, well, pay another 10,000 rupees.
I agree with
each
you.
time I commit a murder before the age of 18, I will pay 10,000 rupees.
You're talking of...
Each time I'll say I want to be reformed.
That's as ridiculous. Arnab, that's as ridiculous as an adult rapist being told by a judge that you marry the victim. Now, ridiculous judgments are not unusual, but the law is there. Then it comes to sagacious application of it, keeping in mind all the interests that are involved.
Okay, now two counters came to you from Subhashini Ali. Before Subhashini Ali, I'm getting Ranjana Kumari back. Ranjana Kumari, please.
Me too.
Yes,
Me
Ranjana
too,
Kumari.
Arnav. Yes.
I'm coming to you, Purnima.
Okay, Arnav, I just very briefly want to say that this has not been a rational way of trying to defend child rights, because there has not been any analysis to look at the kind of background these children have come and committed a crime. I have not seen a single study. Secondly, after the crime committed, they have done repeat crime. We have those kind of cases in front of us, but we do not have the cases where they got reformed and got integrated into the society. So I think we need to be looking at those facts and data to really support the point of view we are saying. So there is intent of the crime, there has to be the nature of the crime, and also if the crime has been done with the gruesome nature, rarest of the rare crime, if these are the situations, we have to revisit the law, we have to make exception in the law. We cannot keep repeating things just for the sake of repeating things. We need to look at this.
Yes, absolutely. But you know, Kavita Srivastava, I know your hand went up. Subhashini, before I come to you, I'd like to get the contrary position. Revisit your situation. Revisit the context. You know how it is being misused? Let me give one more example. Being a minor is used as a convenient excuse because the law treats juveniles, however heinous their crime, with kid gloves. Let me give you one example. Ashiana gang rape case. You know about it? The prime accused who brutally raped a minor, Subhashini Ali, I'm sure knows about it. I think this is from Uttar Pradesh.
That was what I was referring to.
Yeah, so
that's what I was referring to. I'm fighting that case.
Yeah, so what happened in that case?
We are fighting that case.
Yeah, so I won't tell our viewers what happened in that case. Kavita Srivastava, let me tell the brutal reality to our viewers. No, let me tell the brutal reality to our viewers.
Okay.
I'll tell the brutal reality.
Okay.
And then you can give your perspective.
Yeah.
The prime accused raped a minor, tortured her, stabbed her with cigarettes before dumping her on the street to die, was proven to be an adult, and I'm talking of someone connected to a politician, proven to be an adult 8 years after the crime. Now why is this sad? Because that person is now married and has settled down in life. But what happens to the victim? The victim is still forced to live in a secret place with what has happened to them for fear of their life. This is what's happening right around us. Kavita Srivastava, even for serious human rights activists like you, you're going to have to slowly reconsider your position perhaps.
Okay, can I say something?
Yes, please.
See, the point that we're trying to make, that there is a complete failure of the criminal justice system because the powerful and those with clever lawyers continuously subvert it. I could give you equal examples where, you know, like Bhavri Devi case, where rapists are released on grounds of caste and age. So let's not look at the ridiculous ways in which our judiciary sometimes function. But still, I would appeal to you, don't, you know, at the outset, prevent re-entry of these children into our society. What brutalized them? What made them that? At least let's give them a chance. I think.
No, you see, I find a slight. I find a slight incongruence, if I may, in your line of argument and in Malavika's line of argument. If you may, please, I'd just like to elucidate where I feel there's an incongruence.
Arnab, look at the budget of reform.
May I
please? No, just 1 minute. Look, 1 minute. Look at the budget of reform.
May I please?
Look at the budgets. What are paid to people? People, you know, we run a home. We are given money from the central government of wages.
No, but I'll tell you why I find it an incongruence.
Please.
I'll tell you why I find an incongruence.
No, please.
I'll tell you. No, 1 second. Allow me.
You are not.
Allow me, Kavita.
You know, should we eliminate? 1 minute.
Allow me, Kavita.
If we cannot change the situation, we should eliminate.
Asking you.
We must eliminate.
No, Kavita.
I think we can change them. We can really change them.
Kavita, all I'm saying today, is there are 3 things, they're not coming together. You begin by arguing, have faith in the system. Right? 1 minute. Have faith in the system.
No.
1 minute. One minute,
saying
please.
that.
1 minute, please. The basic argument
said
is
that?
reform the system. The system is not working. I've just proven the system is also misused. The system does not reform.
That happens.
The system does not reform.
There's a complete failure
So the
of
change-
the criminal justice system.
So change the law. Change the law. That's
No, not the law.
No,
Change your entire procedure.
Are you
change
convinced?
the
Are you
way
convinced?
judges
Are you-
deal
are you-
with things.
Are you
change,
convinced? Are you
change our
convinced?
homes.
Are you convinced? Are you
change the way police looks. The way the prosecution presents.
One minute.
It's not just
Kavita.
the law.
Kavita.
It's a whole lot of
I'm asking
things.
you with all sincerity, Kavita. I'm asking just one. Allow me to complete. My question is: are you convinced that the 17-year-old who raped a minor for 3 successive days and came out saying I'm a minor at the time of the crime, are you convinced the fellow has been reformed? One. B. Allow me. And if you are not convinced the fellow is reformed by all I know. If 1 minute, that means you have an unreformed. 1 minute. That means you have an unreformed criminal back on the streets,
But
completely
why was he
capable
not
of repeating the crime.
Why are you not? No, please place the culpability on the people who are running
Why
the
you
home, on the social justice department, which is supposed the social welfare department.
I'd
The
like to get in.
culpability is of all the
Subhashini.
responsibility of all those people. We have restorative justice. We don't want retribution for all our children. Please, 13. Do you want to hang the 14?
Well, you know,
13-year-old,
I'll tell you.
14-year-old. What is this?
I'll tell you what.
Please,
I don't want to hang.
please
All I'm saying,
change.
all I'm saying, my
really
job is
want
to ask the questions.
pitch
I am
for our
not,
system to change.
Kavita.
South Africa did it.
I am
South
not.
Africa did it.
Kavita,
They brought reforms
Kavita,
into
please.
their homes.
Kavita,
Please, these are children without parental guidance. They've done it in a moment.
Kavita Srivastava, please listen to me. Kindly listen to me. This fellow was leading the others in the Nirbhaya case. He led the gang rape. He was not following them. So that argument is also misplaced. I now want to go. I want to go to Subhashini Ali. Subhashini Ali. Subhash, 1 minute, please. Let me go across to Subhashini Ali for a minute, please. Subhashini Ali, this argument can continue. At one point, the argument should not be academic. The argument has to become real. It has to help me ensure this kind of crime doesn't happen. That's all. The argument cannot be theoretical, given what's happening all around us. Can it?
I think that, I think it is wrong to feel that things cannot be changed, that laws are static and laws cannot be changed, or understanding of situations cannot be changed. I think that with the experience that is coming, and I think that eminent people like Soli ji and others have also spoken about it, that when you have people say between 16 and 18, and I've talked about the school certificate business, the ages one is really unsure about. There's this margin of 6 months which seems to make all the difference. I really think that that's a bit, it's a bit unreasonable. And definitely I think that now that this whole Juvenile Act is being revisited, I think there has to be an input which takes into consideration the nature of the crime. I think that's what people are looking for, and that's what people are wanting to see.
No, the question is mental age.
Saying that you do away with the Juvenile Act. Just please let me finish. I don't think anybody is saying do away with the Juvenile Act. Nobody is saying lower the age of consent. I don't think those are the issues. I think the issues are of people who are, say, over 16, between 16 and 18, know perfectly well what they are doing. Is there a way in which they can be held accountable for the terrible crimes that they commit? Number one. And number two, once again I would like to say, please let us not make a religious thing of the school leaving certificate. They are forged very easily, and people also lie when they admit their children into schools. So I think that is not something that should be so hard and fast. There should be certainly medical examinations also.
But X-rays are not perfect, Subhashini.
No, one second, let her respond. Yeah, one second.
Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect.
Then, you
nothing is perfect.
Not backed by
nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect, Kavita.
Sometimes doctors put it at a higher pitch.
Nothing is perfect.
That is not perfect.
Nothing is perfect.
That is not.
Nothing is perfect.
So
I'm sorry, nothing is perfect. This boy in Lucknow,
When
please listen to me, Kavita. Kavita, now listen to somebody else for a change. This boy in Lucknow produced not one, but 2 school certificates proving that he was a minor. And ultimately both were proved to be forgeries. But what was the time that went into it? Absolutely. What was the legal expense that went into it? How many people will go on fighting to get that proof accepted in the court? 7 years we fought that case.
One second. Kavita, let others come in. One second, Kavita, let me come in, please. Please come in. You see a limited point that I'm making here. Let's not perpetuate myths. One of the myths is these are homeless children who have been, who are products of a system that has been harsh on them. They are all homeless children without a home who carry out these kind of crimes. That's the biggest myth. Because NCRB data, Malavika, please, let me tell you the data. In 2011, only 5.7% of the juveniles arrested were found to be homeless. The rest of them stay with their parents or relatives. So it's not only socio-economic factors are a factor. They are not a factor as you are making it out to be. Purnima Advani, 3 minutes on the debate. 3 minutes on the debate. I've just pointed out a fact to you here. Purnima Advani.
I've been wanting to come in. I must share with you one incident which has left a permanent scar on my mind. And this was a rape by a 16-year-old boy of a 4-month-old girl. The girl and boy were in Lakhimpur. I went and picked up this girl from the KG Medical College at Lucknow, transferred her to Delhi Apollo Hospital. She stayed at my house for about 6 months. She went through 4 surgeries, and there were plastic tubes which had to be fixed because her fecal tract had torn. The urinary tract had torn. 4-month-old baby, 4 surgeries, plastic tubes, because everything was coming out from the abdomen. It was such a pathetic scene, and this girl is never going to be normal. And this was done by a 16-year-old boy. Now such kind of boys must be taken to task. As I again said, it's unfortunate the law as of today does not permit it. Of course, if the school living certificate gives a different age, or the bone ossification test tells us he is adult, it's wonderful. But otherwise, the law as it stands does not permit it. There is a complete need to amend the laws and to ensure that boys of this age are not left off softly.
And I'm saying this with all seriousness.
It's very important. Otherwise, the reformative effect that you want to give, the deterrent impact is over.
Okay,
There's going to be no deterrent for these youngsters.
The rape by juveniles, Justice Mudgal, I want to come back to Justice Mudgal. Rape by juveniles is among the highest, of 34% increase, 2010 figures. We wake up only when...
It's a very alarming thing.
It's very alarming.
I agree with you. I think what you say is a good cause for maybe amending for 16 to 18. But I first want to come to the Ashiana case, which shows that it can be totally abused, but there is only one sort of a gateway there. The person who abused it was not a minor at the time, and he was certainly not a minor when he produced a forged certificate. So he should be prosecuted for using forged certificates in a court of law. He should also be prosecuted for the original crime. But I agree with you that for these 16 to 18 bracket, the period of 3 years could be increased. Certainly, there is a case for relook there. I entirely agree there.
Well, I'd like to thank my panelists. This is an important debate. I said yesterday we would give it more time. We'll debate it at length. We've put examples out there. I hope those who can change the law are listening tonight. I hope those who can bring in a change, whether through an ordinance or through an act of parliament, quickly do that. I hope this doesn't get buried. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you again tomorrow, 9 p.m. on the News Hour with the debate that matters to all of us. Good night and goodbye.